You know, something else that would be a good bit of advice is the advice that we might be getting later on today, some of the information we might be getting later on today in terms of the Hurricane Hunter aircraft that are going to be flying into Erica, trying to discern what may happen over the next several hours and days. Let's send it back into the studio with Dr. Postel and Kelly.
All right, thanks so much, Reynolds. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk more about the Hurricane Hunters and their mission because we talk about them all the time when we're tracking tropical systems. This dedicated team gives us the most detailed and accurate information on tropical systems by flying right into the storm, right? So we're joined this morning by former Hurricane Hunter Lieutenant Colonel Chad Gibson of the U.S. Air Force Reserve. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, does it take a brave individual to even become a Hurricane Hunter? What's it like?
Well, you know, the Reserve flies the missions. We fly the WC-130J model. I don't know if it really takes bravery, but it does take a lot of training to keep it safe, and that training is something you have to do on a daily basis, and so just being aware of your circumstances.
Well, I want to say that the missions that you guys fly are incredibly valuable. I mean, not only do you get an idea of what the storm is doing now, which we really couldn't get otherwise, but it also gives you a better idea of where it's going to go. So you have a dual purpose here, and it's really, really, I'd say, invaluable, and it's much appreciated by all of us, I think.
I'd agree with you, and if you look at the data we do collect, it goes straight from the aircraft to the National Hurricane Center. Yeah. When that's inputted in the models, you increase the accuracy by 30%. So you can imagine those forecast models, the band getting that much wider. That's more evacuations at a cost of about $1 million per mile. You're saving just millions upon millions of dollars. Then, of course, people believe the forecast and they do evacuate, which we saw in Katrina. A lot of people did not evacuate, and many lost their lives.
And speaking of Katrina, as you know, today marks 10 years since Hurricane Katrina made landfall along the Louisiana-Mississippi coastline. I understand you actually flew into Katrina during its early stages of development?
Right. When it was Tropical Depression 10 and 12, we looked at it really what we call tropical trash. We didn't really think it was going to build it much, but then the models started picking up a little bit. There wasn't much to it. Very difficult to find a circulation early on, and then it started developing. And then when it hit that very warm air over the Gulf of Mexico, very moist, it started building very quickly. And to a point of almost disbelief, it got so large so quickly.
Yeah, and you know, actually, you and I were talking earlier about some of the aspects of Katrina's circulation when it was crossing land in the northern Gulf of Mexico, and how strong the winds aloft were. They were over 200 miles per hour, not far off the ground, say maybe 1,000 feet or so. Right near the ground, they were about half that. So we were very lucky that on the ground that we didn't get those 200 mile per hour wind gusts, but I imagine those flying in it have had some rough times before, not just with Katrina, but in other missions as well.
It's hard to imagine just when you're going to have a rough ride.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the Category 5 hurricanes are the smoothest ride you can have, but the tropical storms like Erica right now could be a very rough ride. When you get the interaction with land, if you get a storm that's building or decreasing in intensity, that's when you start getting a rougher ride. And so it's, as what Forrest Gump said, it's a box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're going to get.
You don't know what you're going to get.
You know.
And you mentioned Erica, you know, a messy storm, and you know, that can be a lot of problems as far as tracking it and, you know, what's going to happen with it.
Well, the WC-130J that's going out there right now is going to have some challenges. First of all, finding the center of the storm. But also, we're not going to fly over land because as it interacts with land, you get increased tornadic activity, a lot of wind shear, and that's could be dangerous for the crew, and we want to be careful about that. But those citizen airmen are well trained, and they're going to have a difficult time finding the center, but I guarantee you the data that they have will be life-saving and will help the forecast tremendously.
And we'll have that data as soon as it'll be about an hour before we get I think the new fix, so that'll be good news.
We thank you and everybody else for their service, obviously, and we'll have much more on what the Hurricane Hunters find on Erica coming up.
Cool stuff.